everybody, welcome to Learn with Steph. This is one of the videos as part of our Lessons in Law series. The focus is on OCR A Level Law, but it will be useful to anybody studying law. If you like the videos, please do subscribe and press the like button at the bottom. Hello, this is the first video on human rights, aimed at OCR, that is useful for anyone studying human rights. So today we're going to have a very basic introduction on the types of human rights there are. We're going to look at what's the difference between human and civil rights, what the term human rights actually means, and in the context of the European Convention of Human Rights, what are the different types of human rights? So first of all, what are human rights compared to civil rights? Well, human rights are the basic rights and freedoms that all human beings are guaranteed or should be guaranteed. So the right to life, the right to freedom from torture. Whereas civil rights are more domestic. So they're the rights granted by a state to all its citizens. So in the UK, for instance, we have the right to free healthcare through the NHS, but you'll be well aware that lots of other countries around the world don't have this civil right. So what are human rights itself? Well, they're universal, so they apply to everybody. They're inalienable. In other words, they can't be taken away. And the rights that the state owes their people. So it's rights that the states give people. And they can only be limited in certain circumstances, and some, such as freedom from torture, can never be limited. So in the context of the European Convention of Human Rights, there are three types. There are absolute rights, limited rights, and qualified rights. And for your OCR exam, you need to know the difference between the three. And for the articles that you study, you need to know which are absolute, which are limited, which are qualified, and what this means. And the definitions are probably going to be form the start, if you like, of your essays. So either your scenario essays or your evaluation essays. So absolute rights, they're rights that the state cannot limit in any way, such as the right to life. Limited rights can be limited, but only rarely, such as Article 5, the right to liberty. And qualified rights are a little more flexible because the state can limit these for legitimate reasons, such as freedom of expression, Article 10. Let's look at limited and qualified rights in a little more detail. So limited rights can be limited, but only for the reasons allowed under the right itself, or if the state derogates, which we'll look at in a minute. So reasons allowed under the right itself. If you think about the right to liberty, you can probably think of the reasons that are going to be laid down in Article 5 that will give the state the right to limit someone's liberty. Qualified rights are rights that can be limited again, but only if necessary in a democratic society, in accordance with state law, and for legitimate reasons. And these reasons will be laid down under subsection 2 of the right itself. So you need to remember the three aspects of qualified right. Necessary in a democratic society, in accordance with law, and only for legitimate reasons. So looking at the word derogation, this was laid down under Article 15, and it allows a state to restrict a right in times of war or national emergency, but only necessary in the situation. So they can't get rid of everything. So for qualified right, when you're explaining this right, you need to make sure that you understand the principle of proportionality, because any restriction a state makes on a right has to be proportionate. So in other words, the state has to balance the rights of the individual against the restriction they've made for the rights of the community. So that's the end of our first video. The next one on human rights is going to be focusing on the Human Rights Act 1998 and looking at the key sections that you should know for your exam. Thank you for listening. That brings us to the end of this lesson in law. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like it and subscribe to find more videos. Bye.